I blew it, Mary.
Thanks, Mary, and thanks for the reminder. So those in the first group were, let's see, Sharon and Carol and Lynn and me, and Mary joined us too for a time. So could, Sharon, you had some really good ideas. Could you share some of those just very briefly?
Inviting speakers to our group meetings and doing these meetings in Zoom, and then passing this information to our networks that we are members of, and doing also putting them up among all the district clubs in our all our Zonta clubs in our district, and maybe also putting them public announcement in newspapers or in any communities. And these speakers could be of interest to young women especially. And at this time, our club is identifying the advocacy topics that we'll be focusing on. It looks like it will be climate change and women's health, to bring speakers specialized in those aspects. That's what I was thinking. So then pass the word around and invite people to join those meetings, and then maybe create new contacts.
What I really liked about that, especially the ideas for speakers, was that it brings that whole international focus into it. So if somebody saw that the speaker on climate change was going to be there, and they had an interest in that, they would come to your meeting and then know that this was part of a whole world organization that was working on climate change and how it affects women. Lynn, you had a really good idea too about a tabling event and an elevator speech.
Sure. Well, and this came from being at the National Night Out, and I think in September that's a good time to refresh people's memories on the elevator speech, and oh, so what's Zonta? But then adding to that elevator speech, because with an event like National Night Out, it's a lot of children who are coming up and grabbing the Skittles. And they unabashedly ask, what's Zonta? And so also adding to your elevator speech repertoire, how to answer that question to a child, knowing that mom's standing right there. And so that mom gets the information, but you've explained Zonta in such a way that that it's easily digestible for kids.
Thanks, Lynn. That's something I had never thought of, and I think it's brilliant.
Well, I had to do it on the fly at National Night Out. It's like, okay, I know how to answer this question to mom, but this is an 8-year-old who's asking me. So
Thanks for sharing that experience.
I adapted.
And Carol had, she shared that her husband says the word Zonta whenever he gets the opportunity, which I think was really great. Carol, can you share that?
Shoot. He's not my husband. I'm
Whoever he is, the man in
yeah, partner in crime. Well, we both worked before the plague as tour guides, and when he's doing a tour in Halifax, his tour always goes past Royal Artillery Park, and he talks about it as one of the places the Zonta Club of Halifax holds events, and he gives a little 2 or 3 second thing about just what Zonta is. And you know, it's for people obviously who are on a tour from a cruise ship, but at least he does get the word out about the club. And we ran out of time, but one thing we have been doing as part of the National Orange Day initiative that started with the E-Club from Toronto is we've been getting prominent buildings in the city And in fact, last year, we had them in all 4 Atlantic provinces orange during the 16 days. Floodlets turned orange, and we have also, and I've got to get back after the guy, we have an area at our convention center that's called the town square, and we get 10 days worth of Zonta images on their big screens that run for a whole city block.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So when Carol was talking about that, I was thinking maybe we should ask our club members to have a little contest with themselves and see how many times they could say the word Zonta in conversations that they have throughout the month. Maybe just jot down, oh, that was 1 time, that was 5 times I said that. And then report back the next month. Maybe we could give them some Skittles or some Dubs chocolate to the one who says Zonta the most.
You know, Donna, every time I think about that, you know, the movies like, oh, one time at band camp, you know, and that's one time at band camp. I think we need to have the one time at Zonta. One time at Zonta, we did, yeah.
Great, that's really great. The next group was how we could show up. And I don't know who is in that group, but whoever it was, could you give us a little synopsis?
Well, I'll just start with a couple things and then please the others chime in. We were trying to think of ways how we could promote ourselves and show up at events. And one of the suggestions was, first of all, make sure that your club meetings are consistent. You know, make sure that every member knows like in our case, it's the first Wednesday of the month and you are expected to show up. I mean, that's just a general thing for your club members, but just make sure it's on their calendar. The other thing, which I found interesting, is checking out calendars in your community and going to activities, you know, having a presence there for these specific things, like having a table there, but checking in our case, it would be the Chamber of Commerce. Somebody else, I think it was Ari, there was someplace else that she would go. Where is Ari? Oh, she's not here. But just checking out those calendars and getting your information on those calendars too, but showing up at different events with a table so that you could promote the organization. I hadn't thought of that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's some of the towns, some of the cities have calendars, right? I think Sandy, or was it Ari that had, yeah. So those were the couple things that I took away from that. Does Catherine or Kaneen or Sandy have anything else to add to that?
Somebody mentioned sponsorship. I missed that.
Oh yeah, sponsorship opportunities. I think, Sandy, didn't you bring that up about sponsorship opportunities?
Yeah, we were even looking about sponsorship opportunities on the calendar. So like, even if you can't have a table at the event, consider sponsoring, like, or just putting like a little ad about in the calendar, either the webpage or the email that goes out to a lot of community members, because then it includes possibly a link back to your website. And, you know, when we were looking at how effectively can we get out, and our club members were like, we should get a billboard, and we were saying, well, that's not the most effective. Maybe we could spend the money. And so that was an idea of,
Gotcha.
we could do that. Yeah.
And show up at college events.
Yeah.
You know, if we want to promote, you know, try to reel in the younger ladies.
We were, yeah, talking, because even Julie had mentioned in a previous group how she does safety training. We were like, not only is climate change and global warming an issue for maybe that would be attractive and interesting to college students, but so would giving like a safety training demo and getting your members out and involved, and really talking to the young women about how they can protect themselves from, you know, just.
And at the same time, you could have a little educational piece on the prevalence of sexual assault on campuses.
Yep.
Yep.
And Zonta International has, you know, some research about that and some tools.
One of the advantages we have with our meeting space when they allow us to do that again, is that we can host events there at no cost to use the space. So
Wow,
that's a good opportunity for our club to do something like that.
Mhm, mhm.
awesome.
There's also a suggestion of setting up a Zonta podcast, and Malden is
Mhm.
looking into that themselves.
Ooh, wow, that's innovative. Yeah.
Where's Ari? I lost Ari.
She's a busy
Ari
woman.
had to go. She told me she was gonna be leaving about 11, between 11 and 11:30.
Okay.
She's
Thank you,
probably building the podcast as we,
Really, really. Thank you, Joanne.
And our last group was talking about leave prepared. Who was in that group? Nobody?
Well, I was only in there for a short time, but I can't believe the great ideas that came out. So I'll just start, and please,
Yeah, thank you,
please
Mary.
join us. Elevator speech, making sure you have your elevator speech, and make sure that you can talk to different age groups that make it age appropriate, as Lynn was mentioning. My club has created some cards that I'm going to show you in my session, business cards, very generic, and I got 500 for like $26. So enough, 20 or 30 for every member, so that they have them in their wallet. If someone says, you know, what is Zonta? You could pass that out. Make sure to always have a call to action, something actionable. You might want to take a look at this video that we just showed, or you might want to read this, or perhaps you'd like to come to a meeting and learn more about this, but some kind of call to action. Somebody had an orange whistle, and got a whole bunch of orange whistles, and put them in a little bag with a Zonta information and passed them out. Is a very nice tool. You know, we all need a whistle in different times. Help more. What else do we talk about?
We also talked about the new tagline
Perfect.
that Zonta has, which I hadn't known about, building a better world for women and girls, which
Yes.
they talked about. Partly it's because of a translation, but also it's really clear that's what we're trying to do versus advocacy. And, you know, it's like, that's concept, but it doesn't tell you what. And so building that tagline into your elevator speech along with a specific example. And so you start with, this is Zonta's mission, and this is what our club is doing. And wouldn't you like to join our next meeting because we're talking about XYZ? Or we're going to be at, Malden every month helps pack food bags for people who are food insecure. And so you can end it with, our next date to do that is here. Would you like to join us? So combining the generic new tagline with a specific about your club and a call to action. And when you're tabling, not just handing out candy, which is great, but people know nothing about you and they just grab it because it's there. But putting the candy in a bag with the business card or with the whistle, and why a whistle? Well, I have the card that says, because I hand them out for my rad class, that it says, Zonta says no to violence against women. And then on the other side is the information about your club, for example. Then you're giving them something, and you're giving them a reason that you're giving it to them. And they, that connects it a little bit better than just candy. Because everybody gives out candy, which is great. People love it and they'll come to your table for it.
Right.
But it doesn't connect to our mission unless there's something more with it.
I'm glad you brought up the new tagline. We haven't talked about that, and that's real important for presidents to have a good handle on. So that's all the groups reporting.
Jan Tarteka.
Yeah, I would say the other thing that we talked about was, we have heard earlier about different age groups and how they react to, what they think Zonta should do, and that our tagline, we should have a second line for that or a second step for that tagline, that when, depending on who you're talking to, recognize that there is something that might appeal to that post 1995 kid, versus what would appeal to my 60s and 70s person that I'm talking to. And just sort of just have in mind, and it doesn't have to be your club specifically, it can just be something that, you know, almost like, again, it's an educational tool. And what I did is I said, I stole from our friends here and talked about child marriage, which to me is still just an amazing thing, that, you know, what it means and what happened now and what's the next step. And, you know, that might engage a person who's in their 30s or 20s differently than it might engage somebody who's in their 50s or 60s. So.
Perfect.
And Janice, you in Massachusetts can brag. I mean, you've got some serious bragging rights about how you helped end child marriage, you know, because governor signed it into law just a couple weeks ago, right?
So exactly, and that's the part. That's
Kudos to all of
Yeah,
you.
really,
Yeah,
really.
absolutely.
Well, and a follow up from that to our next session, which is on publicity. One of the things that I am so proud that Massachusetts was able to do that, and yet the publicity after, I have seen really nothing from the governor saying that this got accomplished. You know, I mean, there's, oh, he signed the thing for gambling. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, so I think it's, even though Massachusetts got it passed, one of many states that still have to go that route, getting the word out that this happened and is really, it's only Zonchans and a few other people who've been aware and part of it, but not the general public. So how do we get this message from those that know to the rest of the world? And that's kind of our breakthrough to Mary. But I see Julie has your
Yeah.
hand.
This has been a thread throughout the whole thing. And before we start losing other people, I just wanted to let people know that as part of the 16 days of advocacy in November, our meeting, which is usually the second Tuesday, we're pushing it to the third Tuesday because it's election day and a lot of the women work at the polls. But I am going to be doing an hour-long training on risk reduction, risk recognition, risk assessment as part of what RAD teaches, with education being 90% of preventing and reducing violence against women. And we do want to invite all of the clubs. It'll be a Zoom group. It'll be mostly discussion because learning one skill is not helpful when you need 10 of them. But if you use those skills, you're less likely to get into a situation. So I want everybody to put that on their calendars for November 15th, I believe it is. It's the third Tuesday, and we will send it out to everybody. But if you put it on there now, we would love to have a large group there, so that will be a good start.
Thanks, Julie. I think that's one of the real goals for all of the presidents, is to get your speakers and your important events to Mary Knight, who's going to put them on our district website so that we all know, so that we can join. That was something we started to talk about in the last biennium, and get sharing speakers. And when I was looking at the clubs, there are some clubs that meet the same night. No reason you can't do a joint session together, you know, as we go into and kind of expand this energy that you get from seeing how other clubs are doing and sharing those resources. So thank you for adding that.
Yeah.
Anything else, the other Donna, to wrap up your session?
Donna too. No, just thank you, everybody. Everybody shared such wonderful ideas and creativity. I'm real impressed.
Thank you. And Mary, let's get visible.
Okay. Okay. I want to just share with you that Zanta has started a greater visibility training team to promote Zanta globally and to assist clubs in getting recognized as community partners in the effort to improve the lives of women and girls. So we can expect a lot of really good information to come this year. Today, my job, hopefully this will work. Okay. Today, my job is to talk about 4 4 things. 1, creating a visibility plan for the year, and then 3 types of visibility that are cost effective, but very powerful. While I'm going to go very quickly through this, I want you to make sure that you know that I'm available to do this presentation as a training for your club or committee in your club, however you want to work it. And so I just want you to sit back and think about the ways that you can get visible and during this biennium, and then know that I'm available to do this presentation in more depth with your clubs. Any questions before I begin? Okay, so the first step is getting organized and planning. So what I want to encourage you to do is take a look at your club calendar and identify communication opportunities throughout the year with special attention for a big splash in November and March, and identify each month what are some of the things that are going to be happening that you want to talk, get some coverage on, because thinking forward on this is really critical. Next, assemble a communication team and don't just leave it to members. I'm suggesting that you reach out to local high school guidance counselors or college communication departments and see if you can get some volunteers to help with maybe 4 or 5 hours a month. And it would be helpful for them to practice something that they want to do in their careers, but also an opportunity to be honorary Zontians and learn about Zonta and the kinds of work we're doing, and we might open some doors that way. Some of these younger people this is just second nature to them, and you know, what we think is daunting, they think as an opportunity to have some fun. So work with them. Next is to follow up on news and events on zonta.org. Things change almost daily. And in your Zonta Connect, which is your phone app, there's always new information coming on. Get familiar with postings on Zonta International social media. They cover all of the social media from Twitter to YouTube. And I think it was Verna that was mentioning the information is incredible. Great pictures, great content, nice and short, things that are easy to share on your own social media. And everything that's there is free for the taking. They put it out because they want us to share it. So get familiar with what's out there so that you know where to go. And this should not be one person's job. What I would like to suggest is show you some examples of some of the sites that are out there, but ask each person to take one site and, follow it and kind of get familiar with it so they can speak up and let us know what's available when. Once you have some planning, you've got your communication team and you kind of know what's out there, map out for the whole year what you want to do, when you want to do it, and who will do it. So you have a PR plan for the rest of the year. So that's the planning part. If you are not connected yet to the Zonta Connect, you can download it if you have a smartphone at an Apple Store or Google Play, and it's free. Sign in with your Zonta username and password, and you're going to be in the know on the go. A news feed for the latest updates, discussion forums, easy access to resources if you want the most current club manual, it's right there. Member directory and calendar of Zonta events. So take advantage of that Zonta Connect. Social media, not all of us are into social media, and that's fine. But the individuals that we want to reach, guess what they do? They're into social media. So whether we like it or not, there are ways we can connect, and it's worth it. So these are some of the Facebook pages and other Zonta accounts: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. All you need to do is go to Facebook and put Zonta International or Zonta Says No or Z Club or Golden Z Club, and you're going to come up with all of these sites. So there's a lot of great information out there by Zonta and its affiliates, UN Women, UNFPA, UNICEF, NGO, CSW. Great information out there that's worthy of sharing when it's appropriate. If you haven't done anything with hashtags, a hashtag is simply a number sign and 1 or 2 words, no spaces. The key to hashtags is that it helps others who are interested in a particular topic to find content on that topic. It raises awareness for a cause, increases your followers, increases engagement, and boosts your brand, your club. So for an example, if you went on to Facebook and you put number sign equal rights, you'll come up with all of these different posts about equal rights and learn things just about that. If you use this same hashtag on something you post about equal rights, individuals that you don't know will pick up on it and start following you. So it's really worth it. Everything you post, try to think of something that is relevant to the particular topic you're talking about. Use the hashtag and put that 1 or 2 word or 3 word, no spaces. So that's the magic on hashtags. These are some examples of social media on Facebook. Zonta says no Facebook. Easy to copy. There's a caret on the bottom of each post. Down here, you click on that caret and you can share this information to your page. And again, some of our younger people, find that very easy and they can do it automatically. Some Instagram usually has more pictures than anything else. Great stuff. Twitter. Facebook keeps changing. So, but the reality is if you post something and people comment and you like and you share what they say, you get more people involved. So with shares, you can go viral, and with hashtags, you'll be found by people who are like-minded. So Facebook it really works.
Mary, if I can just add on to that if you
Please,
tag
thank you, Lynn.
somebody, like I put into the chat the End Child Marriage USA hashtag, which is one that Unchained at Last uses. But like if you make a post about ending child marriage and you tag, which would be like at, I'm putting it in the Unchained at Last, like that, it will auto-populate. It's like, oh yes, that's who I want to tag. And that way Unchained at Last sees your post and then can also share and promote it.
And people who follow them, the
Will also
Unchained
see
at
it.
Last, automatically get it. So it really accelerates. Thank you, Lynn. Being social is common sense. You want to be authentic. You want to be on brand. Use pictures, videos, action-oriented, thought-provoking. Weekly would be great, but you want to schedule posts for efficiency, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Always have a call to action, which is nothing more than some actionable item. And read this, click on this, come to a meeting, read, whatever, watch this, whatever it is, but some action on that, comment on it. Use hashtags to amplify messages and topics. Share, just review content to make sure it's linked with the Zonta guidelines. Make sure and share what is posted by different clubs as well, and with the district posts, so that you can take advantage of supporting local clubs and the district in your sharing. And always respond whenever possible. You want to keep the conversation going and encourage members to like, comment, and share on their personal pages, so their friends know that they are involved with this incredible organization. Again, call to action is nothing more than please do something. To schedule posts for efficiency, again, our young people know how to do this much more efficiently than many of us, but if you want to post something twice a day, twice a week for a month, you can go onto Facebook and do 8 posts and schedule them to open up at different dates and times over a period of a month or 2 months. So it's a one-time thing. Just copy and paste what you put together and set timers, and it will automatically come in. So you don't have to go to Facebook twice a week to do a post. And there's also professional tools that are available that will do this automatically for you. Mass media, in addition to social media, is another important point. We want to make sure that we are taking advantage of local, and some newspapers are weekly, some are daily. There's a lot of online papers, radio, television, having a news release, and being prepared if a reporter calls. So mass media is really important. Make sure and start, if you haven't already, build a list of media, reporters and editors. So you have it handy when you want to get out a press release. If you go to NP, excuse me. When I talk too much, my asthma acts up. Sorry about that.
Always prepared, got the lot.
Always prepared. So get the names and contact information for and how to put things on NPR or the local other local organizations, TV and so forth. Notice who's covering news, and that's really that you were impressed with, the reporters that are doing it, that are relevant to, could be relevant to Zonta, and get their editorial information or their emails. Build relationships if you can. Be the go-to person when a particular issue arises. And Zonta, if you go to My Zonta and click on Tools and PR, they have a lot of great information that you can pass along to editors that will give some great information, background on who Zonta is and some of the things we do. Very helpful. Having a news release template is really important so that you're ready to go when something comes up. Include contact information for the club spokesperson at the top. Lead with your best information. Try to keep it to one page. Have a high resolution picture. Don't necessarily put it inside the press release, but have it available to get to somebody. Use the active tense, proofread, of course, and include a paragraph at the bottom in the footer of the news release so that you're talking about Zonta and linking it back to your website or some contact information for people who want more information. So having a press release template is really great, and we have some of those on our district website. When a reporter calls, sometimes it's out of the blue, and you may not be prepared to respond. That's fine. Ask if you could get the information, what they're looking for, and ask if you could get right back to them. And if you're not the right person to answer questions, find that person and let them know that we have an opportunity. What I do is I just write something out so I'm not blathering, and something pertinent to the issue, and just specific facts to support the message, and say it with conviction, and avoid our jargon. And once you've said your piece, stop talking. And hopefully you get quoted in that article. So bottom line, we want to share the power of Zonta to get people talking. Planning is number one. Get that communication plan together. Look at month by month, assemble your team, get familiar with all the resources, and map out that frequency. Once you've started this and you're comfortable, give me a call me or email me, and I'm happy to do a training session for you. Plan your action. Did I miss something? I did. How did I do that? This is what I wanted to cover next. Back up. One of the other important points is to have club publications. I'm going to talk about club brochures, business cards, newsletters, and your website. The club brochure, if you don't have a club brochure right now, or if it's old, it's probably a good time to refresh it. And you can't see it I can't see it. I can move this. Can you see the Concord Club brochure?
No, we're at the slideshow, so I think you need to reshare that screen.
Okay.
Since we did miss some of your earlier slides, I know that we're going to be able to send out the whole package together after. So this is, again, another learning experience that we share. And
can you see this?
We're
Let's
still
get visible.
We're still seeing the PowerPoint.
Okay. Okay, I'm not going to open it up.
There.
Oh, there it is.
There.
Okay. If you don't have a trifold, it's really easy to put together. You can get the paper with some color at someplace like Staples, and I'm happy to help you put that together. There's some really good examples at the membership site, membership.zontadistrict1.org. And again, happy to help you put that together. I've had a lot of experience with that. Also, a generic business card. This is an example of a generic business card that my club has. And it's something that very inexpensive to do. And the back is all about Zonta, the front about our club. It's very easy to hand out if someone asks the question, what is Zonta? And again, I'm happy to help out with if you would like to know more about that.
And
Many of you have
Mary,
talked-
I'm going to be updating our brochure, and I'll be doing it in Canva. So if anyone wants, and I think what I'm going to do is just an infographic, just a two-sided card, like a, what is it called? Not a trifold, but one third of a page sheet. So if anybody would like after I do that, to just stick their information into it, I'm happy to share it so people can create their own easily.
Lynn, please share it with me and I'll put it on our membership site as an example with your contact information. Much appreciated.
And
No
so
problem.
everybody also knows on September 1st, we will be getting the new logo from Zonta International with the new byline, because this one you see is, empowering women. So
Right.
they're creating a new one, getting that out to us on September 1st. So we will have new things to put in our new brochures, and thank you for doing those templates. That'll be great.
Working together. Thank you so much. Many of you.
Working smarter, not harder.
That's right. Thank you, Lynn. Club newsletters are great because they regularly engage members and supporters with news, updates, and calls to action. And when it's done well, newsletters can increase traffic to and regular engagement with our projects. So it's an important, something important to have. Shown here are some examples of a newsletter that Northampton did. This is something that Lynn did for Concord, just a mini newsletter using Canva. I'm assuming Canva. And this is a constant contact version of a newsletter. Help is available. If you want a newsletter, choose what kind of newsletter you want, and we will help you. We also want to strongly encourage you to send out the quarterly district newsletter when it's published to all of your members, guests, supporters, like-minded organizations, so they can see the power of what we're doing as a group. So club newsletters, another opportunity for visibility. And your club website. We all have club websites. Some of you have standalone websites that are amazing. But if you don't have a standalone, you are part of Zonda District 1 site. This is an example of Medford's that I started, and this is the Northampton Club. Whoops. All you need to do is keep it updated. You want to include details about activities, events coming up or past with pictures, membership information, announcements, whatever you want to get some visibility for your club. Get it to me at webmaster@zondadistrict1.org, and I will populate your website. So having a website is that picture, that advertisement in the sky, and it's really critical for information, something to point at when people want more information. So now, once you've identified your plan and you want to do something social on social media, mass media, publications for your club, get a hold of me and we will work together and give you as much help as you need. If you would like me to do this presentation for your club or a group of people in your club, just let me know. I'm happy to do that. Any questions?
Thank you, Mary. I want to make sure that this presentation that you put together, that we'll all share it and see the other parts. Unfortunately, with screen sharing and all the different things going on, we didn't see a lot of the beginning slides, but I know that it's available by just sending them to us, and that'll be good to reinforce what we're learning today, because the visuals that you've done are fantastic. There's so many things that that you've been able to do by putting these things together and sharing the other newsletters from other people and different ways of doing it. So please have this be part of what we get as our follow-up at the end. Thank you.
Okay. Now let's see if we can move on to the next piece.
There's been a lot of information that we have given to you and you've given back and shared. And what we wanted to do in wrapping this up, one of the things that we asked folks beforehand is, what are the pressing issues that you wanted to make sure that we covered today, and what we can look at for follow-up? And I know that some of the goals that we had in going in were really, we wanted to make sure that we had a chance to get to know each other. That relationships are really the foundation of making this work. And how do we get to know each other? And so I want to go through and just do a bit of putting this together so that as we write what our follow-ups are, what are the pressing issues that you came in with? What is it that we want to do for follow-up? And so one of the things is the goal of getting to know each other. And can we, I'm thinking there's probably some people that you met today that you said, I want to reach out to that person. I want to have a chance to talk more with them about how they did something or other. I want you to write write that down and think about it. So just since we're a small group here, wrapping up a nice morning of a lot of information, I'd like to go through and just have you say one thing that you learned today, one thing you want to learn more about, get more information. And if there's anybody that you want to make sure you reach out to and work with more in the future, and we can look at what our follow-up is going to be, because you're not out there alone. We're still going to follow up, and we're going to have other sessions, and we want to know what it is you might want in those sessions. One of the things I heard today, and we were modeling, is looking at doing, Zoom meetings and kind of some of the technical stuff people were asking for, the applications, that might be a follow-up where people can practice and do different things and try stuff out in our safe environment, because we are women supporting women doing amazing things. And so let us know as we go around the room, something you learned today, something that you would like to learn more about, and anything that you want to reach out and appreciate what somebody maybe shared today. So Julie taught me that my screen is not the same as your screen. And, my worldview might not be the same as your worldview, but we're here together, and let's go through these questions. And I'm going to go by my screen because that's the one I see. So, Kanine, can you share one thing that you learned today?
I am interested in setting up a website for us, Bangor Club. We don't have one, and I would like to learn more about how to set one up.
It's already set up.
Oh, thank you.
Let's work together and find out what you want to put up there.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll take care of it.
Wow. Ask and an action all in one time. That's great. Thanks, Kanine. And it's been great to see you and hear more about Bangor, because we've all got, want to help Bangor get to be a larger club too, and get to do a lot of the things that you guys want to do. So yes, thank you. Diane, tell us something that you learned today and something you want to learn more about. You're muted.
let's see. I got a lot of good ideas on how to help our club. And again, I want to learn more on the Facebook pages or the communications pages. My daughter is actually a communications major, and she's graduating in the spring. So she might be one of those people I volunteer to help the Concord Club. She did an internship with the Massachusetts welfare revenue, and that was one of the things they did, is communications and Zooms, and so I think she has a lot to teach me.
I think that's a great idea. And I think getting interns for Zonta, what a wonderful opportunity, really, for the cross mentoring to happen. We could sponsor an internship and they could do a lot with us. So, and my daughter has also been volunteered a few times. So it's the beginning of their Zonta path.
It's called voluntold.
Yes.
I never have to volunteer her for anything, because she does more volunteering than I do. I used to have school first. So
Well,
she volunteered.
obviously you've been a role model. She didn't learn that just from breathing air. So thank you. Mary, what did you learn today?
I learned that I have a lot to learn, with regard to, working with PowerPoint and putting links inside PowerPoints. Can't do that. And I want to thank Sandy for helping. And I want to thank Julie for reminding me to put recording on. So I've got a lot to learn, and I enjoyed meeting all of you. Thank you.
We're a team. That's what we do, is learn together. Janice Severance, sorry.
Yeah, there we go. Oh my goodness, I learned a lot. I think the biggest thing is reaching out in our community using the community calendars and stuff. That was something I had never thought of. So that's my thing, how to get us out there through those, you know, God, see, I'm old, guys. I'm turning 70 this year. So I'm like, oh man, my mind's going. Anyways, that's what I learned.
So you've learned, what do you want to learn more about?
Oh, I want to put that into play somehow.
Okay, so
because that's another source that I'd never thought of, you know, to get our name out there.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
The other Donna.
You know what I learned the most? What amazing women are right on my screen right now. And all of the creative ideas that they have. And I know who to go to now to ask more about one thing or another. And what I'd like to ask now is that each one of the presidents send me the contact information of your membership chair so I can invite them to our first meeting.
Great, thank you, Donna. Verna, what did you learn?
Well, using Canva to do the graphics and layouts, I've heard about Canva, but I've never played around with it. So I definitely willing to take that on. So, and because I'm already started working on a new club brochure. I really like the idea of having it be more of an infographic than a traditional trifold. So, because a traditional trifold template certainly isn't going to cut it online. It looks weird online. So, have something more, that could adapt to both formats. So, I'm gonna look into that. So for sure. So.
Okay, so you've learned and you've got your plan of what you want to learn more on.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Saren, how about yourself?
Well, it was a pleasure to meet all team members and getting to know each other more. And then I realized in Mary's presentation about the visibility, that's very important. And so I am going to study more about different aspects of this visibility and see how we can use it more in our club.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to it. Sandy Carroll, you're next on my screen.
Well, Donna, actually, the other Donna, who I'm going to call D-Ray. How's that for a nickname?
D-Ray.
D-Ray, that's I like that.
I feel like D-Ray stole my answer with, I learned really about the amazing group of women. It was fascinating to have that part of our area. I want to learn more about a lot of things. And I think community outreach is the one that has sparked my interest, and aligning that with the new branding and all of that, which I wasn't really completely aware of. So that's what I'm going to do more and learn more about. And I just appreciated the whole day. I think it's been great. I would ask that everybody take my email address and please put me on your newsletters, because I realized I want to learn more. I was talking about coming out to each club or trying to get to a club event, but I would love to just be a part of your newsletter and see what you're doing every month. So I hope that you would consider adding me as an honorary newsletter recipient. So thank you.
Thank you. Julie.
Hi. So one of the things that I learned is to concentrate on the 16 days of advocacy and the March 8th, instead of trying every month we want to reach, and you're just all over the place and you can't be everything to everybody. But by picking 2 nexus points that people can connect to really easily, and using those as a form of information and advocacy and outreach is a really good way to start that, rather than every month we say, we come on, bring some friends, we need new, and it goes everywhere and nowhere. So concentrating on that, I think, is going to be a really good way for us to try and reach new people and do the press. And, rather than we need a press release every month, we need to be listed in all the calendar. No, we don't. We need to do it one day. And I think that will be really helpful as a start. What I want to learn more about is, since I'm new to being an officer, more of the stuff on the app and on the website that is available to the leadership, and start reading more of that and seeing how I can apply it.
Thank
I
you, Julie.
specifically want to talk to Joanne separately about other stuff, so we'll have to be in touch.
Well, and here you have Joanne, and
I sent you a private message with my email, so it was a chat. I typed it wrong the first time, so just look for the second one and we can chat.
Okay.
And you all should have each other's emails as part of this, so no worries on that. Joanne, I see you've already recruited us a new member in the back.
This is, when I first got plagued with cervical cancer, and then it was breast cancer, and then it was lateral chest, and then it was abdomen, and then it was breast and breast and breast. I didn't think I would live long enough to see grandchildren. And this is my first grandchild. And they were pregnant with twins that were due March 14th, and they came January 23rd. So God does what he does when he does it. And I'm thankful for that. Today I learned that even though I know I'm not alone in the Malden Club, I realize that there is a wealth of information and knowledge in this incredible group of women, and that I should not feel, I'm not a timid person at all, and I should not feel timid, or I should not be afraid to, reach out to another president or someone else to say, listen, here's what I need to do. Because sometimes you need to step outside of your area, because I've noticed in the past that presidents, I give us all a pat on the back. It's a hard role to do, especially to try to be friendly, not be a particular friend to anyone, but be friendly to everyone, and to make sure we include everyone, and for people not to feel like they're not wanted or needed at all. And one of the things that has been in my mind for a while, because we did it during COVID, is that making sure that our senior members and the past leadership and everything, that everybody feels like they are needed in meetings, whether it's Zoom, whether it's in person or not. We need to make people feel wanted. Mm-hmm. And I learned during the pandemic that even though people didn't come out and we sent out blasts, it was basically 3 of the most immune compromised women delivering food, picking up food, taking things everywhere. And then later finding out that they felt like we excluded them. That wasn't the point. We were trying to keep everyone safe. And Michelle, our past president, Ari, my first vice, and myself, we were going crazy trying to deliver stuff here, there, and everywhere. And then to have people feel like they were excluded, that hurt my heart. And I learned that I need to make an extra effort to make everybody feel important. I also learned about, I've been writing like crazy. JMK. I had to say, what is that, when we were in, and then it was my sister from Medford that explained it all to me, because we do scholarships. We do them for the high schools, and we do recognitions for the excelling people who are getting ready to transition from secondary school to high school. So I've learned a lot. And I guess when you're not in the driving seat, so to speak, there's a lot you don't know that goes on behind the scenes. And so I have a greater and different appreciation for the past presidents and the future presidents to come. And I want to thank all of you for everything that you gave. I've got a notebook here. I've got a notebook here, and I keep bouncing back and forth. And I needed to contain everything, where, you know how you write on different papers, and then it's like, well, where did I write that? So I have a book here and a book here. And I want to say a special thanks to Mary Knight. Mary, thank you so much. You are like, really, it's like, do you have like 1,000 hands? Because and this is sincere appreciation. I appreciate the emails, the messages. I appreciate that because of the position that I hold and the past position that I held from the breast cancer program. I get so many emails a day. But I thank you so much for making sure that Michelle, past President Michelle has, Ari has, I have, because we always check back to say, did you see that? Did you know you got to do this? Did you know you got to do that? And I'm just excited for, and trusting God that my health is going to hold out, that I'll be able to do this biennium with all of you great ladies.
Thank you,
so much,
Joanne. You couldn't have said that better. It's one of our big goals, and is that we can depend on one another as we go through this biennium. And what I found from meeting with the other governors has been, oh, you mean your district is having that problem too? Or, oh, you're doing, so we are learning from each other, and it is such a great opportunity to really be able to share. So thank you for your words. Those were special. Lynn, you're next on my screen, talking about special and Canva and all kinds of cool things.
Yeah, and I'll just and just to echo that, I think we're in that starting phase of, you know, building that community, and I think that it should absolutely be the norm that when we've got, like, who's doing something, has anybody ever done this before, that we have this community.
Yes.
And then Governor Donna, you being able to go to your governors and say, anybody know anything about this, right? Has anybody tried this? Any lessons learned? So that we are, we're using our resources the best way possible. I also have so many notes, and during the break, and Julie, I'm just so excited about, oh, I want to sponsor a girls sports team. During the break, I sent off an email to Concord Recreation saying, can you send me more information about this? I'd also, and if anybody needs anything about Canva, just let me know. I'm in there all the time. I love it. I think it's phenomenal. And if you need the pro version, I've got the pro version. I can sneak you onto it. But I would also like to recommend, because I'm really hopeful and optimistic that we are going to be able to, after a year, 2 years, 3 years, show, look what we did. Right. I think we've got the energy and enthusiasm, this is something that's very doable, is that we take the time now to document what we do. Because if we are going to be that roadmap, if we're going to be that shining example for others, inevitably somebody's going to say, well, how'd you do it? And it's not one silver bullet. It is going to be, we did a little bit of this and we did a little bit of this, and this seemed to have the best. We're going to be able to show, hopefully, this had a really big impact. And probably asking all of our new members, so what made you decide to join? How many times did you need to hear about Zonta before you actually decided to do something about it? I think we need to document that and be able to hold it up as an example, that it wasn't easy, that we worked really hard, and these are some of the things that we did, and these were some of the things that were more beneficial than others.
Thank you, Lynn. I think you're right about documenting. It's because we do a lot, but we don't always.
And if it's not documented, it didn't happen.
And I think one of the things we as women are also somewhat not good about is bragging about ourselves. You know, and putting it out like, yes, we've done this and this, because we have been trained to take the back seat and not advertise ourselves. So I think that's a good learning right there. So we have 3 more people to hear from what you have learned. And Janice, I'm not going to say the other Janice, but Tartarka. Is that any good?
Wrong button. I hit the, it's Tatarka.
Tatarka.
Yep.
I like it.
Thank you. I learned somewhat to my embarrassment about the new logo, which I really like, the tagline. I really like it. I just think it's so much easier to express, and also just is clearer about what we're doing. The thing that I'd like to learn more about is how, this new edition of climate change and how that's being related to Zonta's mission of women and girls. I just like to know more about how that's happening.
Okay, got some good resources for that down the road. Thank you. Catherine.
I have to echo the comments of several ladies who've said, what an exciting group to be part of. I know now where I make a note where somebody, when they were talking about something, okay, I'll go to that person for that. And it's really nice to be re-enthused. I always leave these district meetings feeling encouraged to work harder.
We're going to have you working smarter, not harder, right?
Hopefully smarter.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we have to keep in mind, that we are volunteers with very full lives. And so I'm going to pass on the last one over to Carol. Carol, what did you learn today?
Carol, if you're there, you have to unmute.
And we did have somebody's laptop kind of die. So she said goodbye. And I think in a way, we're all energy is probably at our waning. I have to thank you. Oh, I've got Janice.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that for you to let your treasurers know in your club that we're going to have a treasurers training within the next month or so here. So just an FYI, because we want everybody to feel comfortable about what they're doing with their books, etc.
Yeah. And I have my mic unmuted now.
Carol, what did you learn?
Yeah. One thing I learned was about the new logo, and I love the new tagline, and it's perfect. I'm looking at designing a roll down screen thingy for us. banner. And those words worked perfectly with what I was looking at doing for that. As always, I come away awed, like others, with the quality of the folks. And it's been a great morning, worthwhile. So glad I was off work so I could attend. And we need to keep doing these because it's a great way to keep in touch with people we hardly ever see anymore. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, Carol. So any other last thoughts and last requests? Julie? I think I saw your hand up.
Julie, you're mute.
I just wanted to say that if anybody in the clubs local to me, I'm Malden and Chelsea, basically have someone in their club that might want to get trained as a RAD self-defense instructor. I would love to have other partners that could do it with me and be able to help them and go. Zonta paid for my training. Zonta paid for my equipment. Every time I have a class, I let them know, and it's on all my flyers, that it's sponsored by the Zonta Club of Medford. And it's a great way. I got trained when I was 64. I've been doing it for 10 years now. So it's not necessarily, it has to be young, fit women. I'm neither. And that's one of the beauties of the program. So if anybody is interested, or you know someone in your club is, please let me know and I can put them in touch with more information about it. And if you think that your local club would be interested in, it's 12 hours, so it's not like I can come one time and do it. But if your club in Chelsea or Malden is interested in getting a group together to do a training, I'm happy to talk to you about that. I just trained someone that was one of my students. I didn't train her. She just did the training. So now I have a second person. And if you're further away, check with your local police and see if they have a RAD program and talk to them about possibly being connected with it. And if they don't, think about whether somebody might want to get trained and start running one through your community. We do it at community centers and churches and fire stations and all sorts of places. So I'm happy to talk more to people about that if they're interested.
Thank you,
Thank
Julie.
you, Julie.
One of the things I want to bring your attention to, and thank you, Sandy, for putting into the chat for everybody, save the dates. These are our next leadership meetings that are set in place. That'll be September 6th, December 6th, March 7th, June 6th, and we'll be meeting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, 7 Atlantic time. So make sure you've got those calendars in. And if there's some special trainings for after today and different things that you would like, please send us an email and we will look at scheduling and helping people network and put it together. You all have each other's emails, and please reach out to somebody you met today and say hi and how are you doing, because you're all entering into the next new phase as we are.
Hello.
My appreciation so much for your time and energy and ideas today. It was better than I could have anticipated and hoped. You know, we can't control all those things. We just have to let women meet women, and it's amazing things that happen from there. So on that note, thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon and weekend, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.